Oh my God, I think I got it that time. I think I really mastered it that time after like 50 times. Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. I'm your host, Chase Steele Gray. As always, if this is your first time here, I'm glad that you showed up today. I'm a speaker, a singer, an actor, a podcast host, um, a curious soul, right? Over and over. I don't want to talk too much about myself because I need the time to speak about our guest today. I'm going to read a little bit about her to you because you need to know, and boy, does she have a lot to say. Elizabeth Grace is a passionate, energetic, ever-evolving seeker, psychonaut, medicine woman, shamanista sister, space holder and guide, cerebral healing cheerleader, songstress, music maker. Elizabeth is not a medical doctor, licensed or therapist, or clinician in health. She is a doctor of music, ICF certified, healing centered life coach, a humbled recipient of the Munich Kai rights, connected to the sacred land of Chilean Andes, and a dedicated psychonaut in many modalities. 8 year psychedelic experience, 7 in non therapeutical settings, extensive therapeutic. Wow, that word threw me off. Psilocybin, ayahuasca, DMA, ketamine experience, hundreds of hours plus preparatory integration support, 5 years intensive psychoanalysis, 4 sessions per week, deep personal experience, inner child attachment styles. You know what? Let's get into the conversation. This
Goes
stuff,
on.
it's just unbelievable. I mean, like, I'm really, really taken aback by all these things that you've done, and I so respect you. Um, Welcome to the Daily Huddle, Miss
Good
Elizabeth Grace.
morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Man, some human beings have just really gone deep. That's why we have you here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you and I speak about this all the time, right? We have so much, but we still have so much to learn, right? So much to
I'm just at the beginning of my journey.
just
So
at the beginning, right? Isn't that amazing? So,
yeah.
as we talk about this topic today, the pathway of health and wellness, and that word purpose so keeps showing up all over, right? Finding our purpose. What is our purpose? All these things. If you could succinctly unpack this question today and tell us what it has meant to you on your journey thus far.
Okay. I've listened to a lot of podcasts as well. I'm a very big podcast supporter, and I got this from Stephen Bartlett, The Diary of a CEO.
Mm,
And
right.
I was also reading this book. I finished this book, Dave Brooks, The Second Mountain. And I realized everyone's healing journey has a different terrain. And for these guys, in the way that they've described these things, really matches my topography of my own healing journey. So I think everybody goes through life developing a concept of how they want to live their life and they go and live it. That might be, I want to get into an Ivy League school. I want to be the partner in a law firm, name partner. It might be, I want to be the musician who wins the Grammy, which both you and I are, in the back of our minds, we think about that. And then they go and they live that life. Some people meet the goals, some people struggle trying to meet those goals. For me, it was I want to be a I want to get a master's in music in a Northeast conservatory. And when I was young, I got married at 23, good little Christian girl, did the good little Christian life. And I married another pastor's kid. And then one day, 3 years into the marriage, almost exactly 3 years to the day, he sat me down and said, I can't do this anymore. Cosmic mic drop, I'm out. And it was a shock to me. I was in shock for a good 6 months, like trying to work out what am I doing with my life? This isn't the way the Christian thing was meant to go. And then at 27, I was like, I'm going to go live the life that I thought that I wanted to live. And so I sat my parents down and in the kitchen, I said, Mum, Dad, I want to go to America. And my dad said, why don't you stay here and get married again? And this is like 6 months after my husband's walked out on me. And my mum said, no, Alfred or Farid, Alfred, she has to go. Let her go. Let her do her thing. So I traveled across to Boston, started my master's, ended up doing my doctorate as well. Just wanted more school. I loved school. I love learning. And about 2018, I was at the top of my first mountain of the second of the two mountains.
Mhm.
I was teaching on faculty at MIT in the music department. I was teaching a little bit at any New England Conservatory. I was teaching at Berkeley, all these music schools. And I was on faculty and I was gigging every night of the week. I had all these residencies at all these places. I'd done these international singing competitions around the world, probably 7 or 8 of them. And I was just like, on presidential scholarship, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't in my purpose and I wasn't aware of why. And then at about 2018, I moved down to New York. I did my own cosmic mic drop and said, all right, I'm done. And I cut everything off. And really around 2020, once I got myself settled in New York, I began my healing journey. And that coincided with the pandemic and spending a lot of time at home by myself. I had a lot of time to reflect on what's really going on. And that's when I began therapy. And so that began like what some people might call the third step of you meet your goals, you discover them, and then you might mentally check out. Sorry, excuse me about that. You might check out of the life you've lived to really go and examine what's going on, the dark night of the soul, or like the midlife or quarter life crisis, as people are having.
Right.
And then I intentionally moving away. So for me, moving away was to moving either to America, but then also to New York from Boston and going deep within. And you start to really examine what's going on. And I did it with the help of a therapist, going through 4 sessions a week. It was really intense psychoanalysis, the best thing I ever did in my life. And if anyone is feeling stuck, go to therapy. It's the best thing. And get a good therapist. He was amazing. And we just started, and I used to call it the bachelor's degree or the university degree of my brain, of my mind, because we were doing this psychodelic um, spelunking into my subconscious and pulling things out. Sorry, did you? I don't want to. Let me know if you want to say anything.
No,
Uh,
no.
yeah, so then that deep spelunking into my psyche, and then also I mixed that in with a bit of psychedelic. My friend said, "Come with me to a mushroom ceremony." And I had no idea. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't really realize how deep the rabbit hole goes with Alice in Wonderland. And it was amazing. And because I had done like pretty much 2.5 years of really intense therapy before I ever did my first psychedelic experience, I had done 2.5 years of integration. So what the first 3 sessions that I'd done were so powerful because my brain chemistry was catching up with what I was doing in therapy. So one of the second sessions I remember it was a Friday night. I don't know what they gave me. I can't even tell you what they gave me, but I had a birth of the feminine and I just felt all the ways the feminine has held me and loved me. And it was
Right.
like my brain was going click, 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 click into like perfect alignment. And then the second night, I definitely did ayahuasca that night. It was like an ego death. And I cried a river of tears. And I remember feeling all the ways the masculine had let me down. And I have no major trauma in my life. I have no major events. I know a lot of people have harboring a lot of deep things, but I had a father and brothers that loved me, but they really were quite strong in a very Arabic household, a Christian household. My dad's a minister. So there's a lot of like, for your little mind as a little child, your father is God. So there was a lot of healing that had to happen. And I remember seeing all the scenes of the way that the masculine had let me down and just my brain clicking into gear and really um, finding that alignment. And my body was catching up with what my mind knew, but my body hadn't quite grabbed hold of it. And the psychedelics helped me. And then what happens is after you've had this dark night of the soul and you're coming out of it, you really start to explore, who am I? What do I want? What is my purpose in this world? What makes me happy? What brings me peace? How can I bring peace to others? And then finally, I believe with that change of the inner world, that's when we really go and work on our outer world. And I'm now in the process still. It's been 6 years of transformation or 7 years of transformation. Now I'm dreaming my reality into being, and I'm actually aligning myself with what's going on outside. Well, outside's aligning with what's going on inside, really. And
Right.
my inner world is now being painted outside, and I'm starting to meet people who are in alignment with me. I'm starting to connect on different levels. A lot of friends have kind of fallen to the wayside. I love them, but we're just not in the same pace in life. And I have a lot of people now. I t still teach singing, even though I've retired from teaching. And people come to my house and have lessons, and like the first hour is technique and what, and I only ever charge them for an hour, but the second, if it spills over, it becomes, okay, where are your limiting beliefs? Where are your physical blockages? Where's the heart, body, spirit, mind going on with you? And what's really the issue behind your voice? Yeah, we can talk about the technical side of it, or the piano, like what's really going on behind the person? What is happening in the person's heart? So
Right.
yeah, that's yeah.
Okay. So that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack there. And I guess really my question, like right in the front of my head,
Mm.
is what is it or what can it be for the layman person to kind of go into this area of finding the purpose? Like, what would you suggest if you had to say like some steps to move into that direction? Let's just say that just for this to the purpose of this conversation, that
Mm.
what you just said completely blew a person away that was just listening to this. Break
Yeah.
it down, break it down into molecular pieces for me, for the layman person to say, okay, let me start here and do this. And I say this out of respect for you because you have a river of accolades and things that you've done that I love so much. And you're like, it's like you're bulletproof, but you're not. And you know it, even after all of that. Isn't that amazing? So, what would you say? Like, just hold the hand of a person who's like, just show me where to start, please. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think going inside yourself, go within, find ways to maybe go out and walk in nature. And I like the idea of walking the gar like walking in the garden of your mind, like
yeah,
just going inside. For me, I divide things up into heart, body, spirit, mind. I think of they call this the medicine wheel in shamanic
I,
worlds.
I like that. I forgot all about
Yeah.
that.
And every day I try to do something to water the gardens at each of the quadrants. So I might do yoga that gets my body alive. I might do meditation that gets my spirit in alignment. Love Joe Dispenza. I'm all into that right now.
JD.
JD, Joey D. And then, with the mind, I did some psychoanalysis for me. Just talk to somebody. If anyone's feeling like then I think you're gonna know you feel like if anyone who's at the beginning of their journey, you're gonna feel a little stuck. You're gonna
Yeah.
feel a little frustrated. You're gonna feel like maybe some people feel like victims, like the world isn't quite the way I wanted it to be. And why can't I seem to get past this thing? I see this a lot of in musicians around me. I see this like victim mentality and a lot of stuckness of why can't I get that like I thought I wanted that review from that paper. I thought I wanted that accolade. I thought I wanted that. Why can't I get to that? And it's really maybe not what they actually want. Maybe they do want it, but the really what they want is the purpose behind it. The symbolic, getting accolades and things is like, oh, I'm doing the thing I'm born to do. But I think if they stopped and went within themselves, they would find that there might be a different purpose, and that those accolades are just on the path to the higher purpose, the higher calling. So I think slowing down and going inside is the number one step.
Slowing down and going inside.
We say this in New York City as well.
Right.
New
It
York City.
reminds me of a young gosh, was it Stephen Colbert? Or it was the other guy, I forgot his name, that was on the Daily Show. I just forgot his name. Anyway, short story was that he said, I gotta get on Letterman, I gotta get on Letterman, I gotta get on Letterman. When I get on Letterman, I would have made it. And he
Mm,
said, I got on Letterman, I met him, he said, wow, you're funny. Da, 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 da. And then he said, I went right back to my roach infested studio and nothing changed after that. Except
mm,
many, many, many months later, I got hit by some agent who put me here and then I went. And whenever I hear that story in my head, especially you and I being musicians,
mm.
there's this thing that thinks that what that looks like from our perspective is a certain thing. But we forget we're looking at that thing from our perspective. That other person is already there. So
Yeah.
then when we get there, now we're like, oh, like looking at the top of the Empire State Building and then getting to the top of the Empire State Building. Well, the view is different from
Mm,
here to there than it is from there to there,
mm,
right?
mhm.
That's so powerful to me. And when I'm listening to you talk, I'm saying, well, First of all, breaking things up from heart, body, spirit, mind. That to me is a great takeaway because I
Mm,
think a lot of people will they will just drown in their heart or they'll
mm.
drown in their body. They don't think about the displacement of the four quadrants, right? I've been there. I've totally been there, right?
And part of the role as a medicine woman is to track those things. You're going, okay, is this person having a crisis of the soul? Are they having a crisis of the mind?
Right.
And the crisis of the mind kind of scares me a little bit because, there's a lot of fragmentation that can happen in the mind. Crisis of the heart, are they disconnected? Like a lot of, I get a lot of corporate men and men who've really conquered in the corporate world who are at the top of their game come to me. This happens a lot, especially when I'm singing. I get a lot of men coming to talk to me because I've got this effervescent mama energy that's just like this safe feminine, and I
You
love
do.
give that out. And they come and talk to me, and because I've done my schooling, I read a lot. I'm a total nerd, so we connect in the mind. And they feel comfortable because I'm a safe energy. And then what happens is they've got a crisis of the heart. They need to drop from their mind into their heart. And I can track that in 2 seconds. I can feel it, and I can go. And all they really need to do is just to stop and feel. But the world tells them you can't stop. You must keep going. And I've got, a good friend of mine about who's in Brussels, who's incredible. He's at the top of his game. And he's asked me, I'd like to do a journey. And I'm like, I'm so excited for the moment I get to watch him drop into his heart. Like I'm
Right.
giddy about it, but at the same time, it's in his timing. It's in, and then, crisis of the body. I really do believe the body keeps the score. I've got
I
two
love
books.
that book.
Yeah, Body Keeps the Score is amazing. And I believe the sequel to that is The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate.
I don't
Read
know about that one. The Myth of Normal.
it's a new one. It's been out probably in 2 or 3 years. I listened to it when I was driving around Australia recently last year. And it talks about basically the myth of normal. We think that there's normal, but what does that really mean? And it goes through all the conditions and all the situations and talking about what would happen if we go back to being natural and what is the natural way. And I think that's the succession after the body keeps a score. But
Wow.
the crisis of the body, like how does that look? And anyone who's listening right now can stop and go, am I having a crisis of the heart? Am I having a crisis of the mind? Crisis of my spirit? What is my calling? What is my purpose? What am I here for? Am I connected to source, if you want to believe in that? And
Right.
then the crisis of what was the other one? Body? Did I miss that? Heart, soul, mind. And go, where's my crisis? Where is that starting? And you'll find that they all are interconnected to each other, but it starts one place, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Something slipped my mind when you were talking. That you said something that triggered me to say something. You were talking about the different quadrants, and then something came up in mind. Well, anyway, in general, when we say the word purpose,
Mm,
you know, people have asked me, "Do you think you found your purpose?" And I always say yes, right away,
mm,
because I love engaging with people. I love performing. I love playing. I love acting. I love drawing. But the purpose is to constantly be siphoning the magic out into the ether. That's my
mm.
purpose, right? And I want to know for someone who has not yet found their purpose, what do you think are some rudimentary things to go in that direction?
Yeah, I think look for the things in life that bring you joy and that put you in
Right,
flow. Flow
right.
is a really powerful word. Do you ever see that movie? Is it Soul? The movie Soul?
Oh,
That
I love that movie. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's that
Oh,
scene where the people are in
love
flow
it.
and they're connected in I think it's the global consciousness. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna one day have children and make my children watch that movie on repeat, basically. But really, what is it that you do that brings flow? Because then what is happening in that flow place is joy,
Right.
and I believe gratitude and awe of love, awe of what we do, and ask yourself when are those times when I'm feeling in awe of
Right.
life and the world? Because I think that is leverage to going, I think that's connected to my higher purpose.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like similar to you, gathering and feeding. I love Big Mama energy.
Gathering and feeding. Well said.
I would love to have an upstate. I'm going to speak this into being. I'm speaking into being in my quantum. Have
Okay.
a homestead upstate where people can come and heal and just be, doing either psychedelic journeys or playing in the studio as musicians. And I can imagine me walking in, feeding everybody, being like, "Hey guys, dinner's on the table. Let's come and break bread together and
Right.
just gathering and loving and feeding, because that's the essence of what I had in my home growing up. And my parents, as ministers, had an open door policy. People can come in every night. It's like, how many places are we setting? Not just setting the table like normal. It's like there would be people coming through, a lot of sleepovers as kids, a lot of bonfires as adults, just like gathering and feeding and loving. And I
Right.
really do believe for me that what I'm missing in New York City is the tribe around the fire, like being back in that setting of we are all together as a community, connectedness. So just finding the thing that brings you flow and brings you joy and start there, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Um, I want to make sure anyone that has a question has time to ask anything. If anyone wants to chime in, please do at this time. Anyone at all like to say anything or comment on anything? All right, not a problem.
Grand Rising.
Oh, there she is, Rashida.
Grand Rising. Liz, thank you so much for those nuggets. They resonate right close to me, right on my side. I resonate with every single thing that you instill on this platform. And I will open my arms to you and to anyone who want to come and do some bonfire. Please, by all means, I will be delighted to do that, because I normally will do two ancestors, I would say, fire ritual on my property here in Pennsylvania. So
Yeah.
I would definitely have you in mind for that, because for me, that is connecting and paying back to my ancestors. Thank you so much for the nugget. Thank you.
Oh, Rashida, thank you so much. That invitation's real. Thank you. Oh, Chase, let's go.
But listen, Rashida and Liz in the same place, that's gonna
Yeah.
be some craziness right there. Wow. I mean, high level.
Touching on with what she,
No, that's not gonna be crazy.
I
That's
didn't
gonna
mean it
be
that way.
I know, that's why I'm gonna answer. I know it's not gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a bonfire.
yeah, fire is healing, isn't it? Just being
Fire
around
is
Yep,
feeling,
fire.
yep, it is. It is.
right? It's Aries season.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Y'all and your war and fires. Yeah. I
And
love it. Thank you so much for that invitation, Rashida. That's really beautiful.
um, you know, as I'm talking to you and I'm thinking in my mind about the connectivity of spirits and how like you and I have met and Rashida and I have met and all the Daily Huddle people are kind of like mixing all of our energies together to expose these nuggets because when you were talking, I was thinking to myself, yeah, you and I know that we want to get closer to the things that we love that make us feel good. But by and large, there are a lot of people who go, I can't do what I love to do. I have a family to run. I have to go to work. I can't have fun. What do you mean fun? I've said that to people. They're like, what are you doing today? I'm like, just having some fun, going out into the nature. Like, oh, must be nice. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I make that time.
Mm.
It's not like it's just given to me. I make that time. And you have to make that time too. And I think even coming to platforms like this is such a great um, springboard because I just think we need constant reminders that life is not about work only. Life is not about like concentrating on that thing you messed up only,
Mm.
you know? And when I say purpose, sometimes I say that word to people and they don't know what I'm saying. They're like, what do you mean my
Mm.
purpose? Like, I'm just human like everybody else. I'm just living. Like that, it goes right over their head.
And some people are not capable of thinking on that deeper level, and that's completely,
That's fine too. They weren't ever taught that. They
yeah.
what if you grew up around the energy that never allowed access to that?
Well, you know what's ironic is I was born into a spiritual household. Like I was born into a very, very evangelical Christian household, and my parents are the real deal. Like they really do live the life and follow their faith very integrally. And I was, spirituality was thrusted upon me as a child, but I needed to go away and go through my dark night of the soul and go to the wilderness to understand what that means for me. So
Right.
even though I was born and conditioned in this beautiful like situation, I had to go and deconstruct, and I spent 10 years deconstructing and reconstructing what does that mean for me and how does that work in my life.
Right.
And there's a saying they say in one of my healing groups is everyone is called, but few are chosen and even fewer respond. And I don't think fewer chosen is the right word. Few choose. So everyone is called, but fewer people actually choose to step into the healing process and the higher purpose and their calling, and even fewer respond after that and actually see it through. And I think that's where we get to generational healing. What might have not happened in my parents' or my grandparents' generation stops with me. And now I go and I heal that. And I can see that in my cousins. Like we're a very close-knit Lebanese Australian family. And I can see that with my cousins. Everybody's in the ministry of some sort, either whether they're Christian pastors or counselors or life coaches. My auntie's a school counselor. My cousin's a life coach and a pastor. They're all in the ministry. And I can see that the generational things that were missed of my parents' survival generation is now a thrival cousins generation thing. And we're going and we're healing things and we're going out of survival into thriving. And you can describe that in the chakras. Like your first three chakras are about survival, and then we get to the heart, and now we're thriving. When 5, 6, and 7 and 8, we're starting to thrive. And so not everybody is going to answer the call. And also the technology from generation to generation is different. I mean, we're on Instagram and all my Instagram is signed up for like therapy, like life goals and like encouragement. And I've got a very
Right.
positive relationship with Instagram, which I don't really go on very often. But like the technology that's available to me that wasn't like therapy wasn't shameful. Like it isn't shameful like it was in my parents' generation. That there must be something wrong with them if they go into therapy. There's this culture has shifted around healing. So I think not everybody's going to respond in the same way, but we all make the personal choice. And I read a quote the other day that said, in a life now of the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And I think we really can choose to step into that healing. And I don't want to shame anybody, but I really think
Yeah.
you can choose to step into healing and step into your purpose.
When I'm having conversations that go as deep as this, being such a bookophile like you are, I just love books. I have them in my hands all the time. Can you suggest a book out of those two that I put up on the chat, but something that you feel has cracked you open in your life, like in your entire life, the book that stands out to you that another
Yeah.
human being may enjoy? What comes to mind?
Right now, I've just finished Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Joe
And
Dispenza, that name, I just love
he
him.
he's amazing. He really is a science nerd. He's a total nerd. And
Totally.
what he's gone and done, I love I'm a nerd. We connect. But he's gone and just put the mythical into scientific language. So getting into flow, getting into that quantum realm, but also the habits of being yourself. Are we complainers? Are we lying? Are we going in denial? Are we making bad decisions? Are we talking, gossiping? What are we doing? Are we not speaking impeccably, which is what you and I talk about?
Oh,
How do we go through life? And now, how do we rewire to be in our highest self, working in our highest self? And he takes it step by step. It's quite cerebral, but it's also quite applicable. Like there's a lot of simple actions to take. And I listen to a lot while I'm driving. I love driving it when I'm going to sing on gigs like you. We drive to our gigs, and I listen a lot in the car to podcasts and to audiobooks. And I think I'm going to go and listen to that one another few times. It took me about 9 hours to get through, and I'm going to go around again and again.
unbelievable. I
The book.
I really want to talk about the musical side of you. So I'm gonna come back again with you another time. Maybe you'll do a song for us or something. I don't know. Just something a little lighter. And I didn't bring up before that. Wow, Elizabeth is a very, very talented singer, songwriter, instrumentalist. We met working on a project together that we're still working on together,
Yeah.
and and it is just wow. I want to say so many things, but we're just not in that space in this
Mm.
particular conversation on her having this doctorate and all these things. But we're gonna bring her back. I'm just giving you a teaser of what she has done and what she offers to the world right now is just so powerful. Does anyone have anything to say before we begin our outro? Anyone at all? Any comments at all? All right.
Chase, I just want to thank you and I thank Liz for being on.
Sandman.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Liz, for engaging us in this conversation today. I'm looking forward to to following you more, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing you perform for us when you come back again. So
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
No idea.
I'd like to get our information too. I'd like to invite you to my platform also, so I hope we can connect.
Yes, absolutely. How would you? I would say, well, the contact information is on the Facebook. So if you want to go there, it's all there. The YouTube channel and the address, and as well as the Instagram handle. So you can check her out on those.
Okay.
Do it right away. You're gonna love it.
All right.
Highly talented individual for sure. So, any final words, Liz?
Oh, just lovely to be connected to you guys in the consciousness, and I am excited. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Chase, to talk.
Did I tell you it was quick? It's so
It's
quick.
quick. I talked as fast as I could without being ignorant.
I have so much more I want to ask you, and you're my friend. I want people to know all these things that are going on. But this is how it goes, right? We come in, we drop a little some seeds, some nuggets, and then we go away. Hopefully our bodies are tingling with anticipation for new behavior and new consciousness and reading a little bit more and so on and so forth. So thank you for
I
being
was
here.
going to say with the little Elizabeth Grace Commander-in-Chief, I was just kidding around. I read it this morning. I was like, oh, I was just joking. I shouldn't have joked.
I read that. I was like, Commander-in-Chief. I like that. Elizabeth Grace, Commander-in-Chief.
I was joking.
Hey, you gotta put a little something in there every now and then just to see who's paying attention, right?
I set up, yeah.
I used to have a friend when I waited tables, and whenever he saw me, he would say, "Man of Chase, how are you today?" Man of Chase. Wow, that's so official. He's like, "Yes, Man of Chase. Enjoy your shift." We used to always laugh about that. So as always, we. I was just thinking about him again. If I showed you a picture of him, you would all laugh. He's like a caricature. But as always, we like to leave with our tenets, and these tenets are just something that you can take, into your life with you as you do better, as you strive for more, or whatever the case may be in your particular situation. First of all, just love more, right? Have more love in your life. Love the people that you don't want to love. Give it a shot. See if it releases the the tension from your body, right? Laugh more than you have before. Look at some comedy online. Let the body flow through, right? Stress less. How do you stress less? You come to the Daily Huddle. That's what I say about that, because we will unpack some stuff for you here and push it through to another place, right? Also, give of yourself more. When I was younger, my dad used to give me stuff that I loved. When I say give me stuff that I love, I mean like my dad and I were the same size body. We actually still are kind of are. And I would say, "Oh my God, Dad, those are great shoes. Or, man, those are great." And he'd be like, "Take it." And he would just give it to me. I'm like, "Yeah, but you like this." He's like, "Give away stuff you like sometimes. It's a good tactic. Give it away when you love it." I was like, "What?" And now I understand. Now I get it. I totally get the joy from that, right? Sleep more than you have in the past. If you slept 6 hours last night, go to bed a little earlier tomorrow. Go to sleep at 10 or 11 and see if you can make it through the entire night, right? This is something that I speak about a lot. I give myself my own advice because I have a serious case of just over the top lizard brain. I want to do everything. Okay, shut down. Okay, enough. Like sometimes I can't shut it off. And also, challenge your assumptions. Make sure that the things that you're thinking in your brain that are pulling you down, is this true? Am I really that person? Am I really being? Yeah, we don't want to do that. I don't think that doesn't feel good. No, I don't think it does. So just check yourself before you wreck yourself, because that is the key to moving forward. Thank you all so much for being here on the Daily Huddle. I'm Chase Steele Gray, as I said before, and we're here every Wednesday for Health and Wellness Wednesdays, but every day of the week, Monday through Friday, we speak about relationships, we speak about money, we speak about professionalism, we speak about we bring people on from corporations and speak to them about business. So every day of the week from Monday to Friday, you can come on and boy, you're going to really, really be happy with it, right? don't forget spirituality. My goodness, we go into spirituality as well. It's so awesome. So have a spectacular day on purpose, and I will be seeing you again soon. Thank you so much, Miss Elizabeth Grace, Commander in Chief.
So much.
See you next time.
One love, guys. One love. Have an amazing day.